Hello, hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are joining from. We are delighted to have you here. Myself, Harshit from Data Couch, and I'm thrilled to uh, welcome you all in this wonderful meetup session on building AI agents using Amazon Bedrock. So we are about to dive deep into the understanding like how we can build the AI agents using Amazon Bedrock, a very powerful platform that enables developers to quickly and securely build, scale, and deploy generative AI applications. This session would help you to understand how you can leverage Amazon Bedrock capabilities to create intelligent, scalable agents without managing infrastructure. Uh, it is perfect for your journey in AI development. Before we move ahead, I would like to take a moment to introduce our speaker for today's session, someone who brings deep expertise and hands on experience in building next gen AI solutions. Meet Shadab Hussain, Senior Associate for Generative AI and ML Ops at Mathco. He's a Google Developer Expert for Generative AI, AWS Machine Learning Specialist, with 7+ designing and deploying production grade machine learning pipelines. Shadab has built cutting edge AI agents with LangChain, Neo4j, Snowflake, and of course, Amazon Bedrock. He co founded Quantum Computing India, co authored a book on quantum finance, and speaks at global forums from TEDx to the Quantum Innovation Summit. Recognized as an AWS community builder for data, he pairs deep technical mastery with a talent for making complex idea click. Today, he will show us how to architect intelligent enterprise-ready AI agents on Amazon Bedrock, turning your generative AI visions into reality. Before we start with the session, I would like to take this moment to introduce Data Couch at very, very high level. So we are the leaders in highly customizable professional service delivering specializing in agentic AI, generative AI, data engineering, cloud, blockchain, NFTs, cybersecurity, advanced data science, data analytics, agile and DevOps, AR, VR, and various other Web3 domain technologies. Our range of services varies from consulting and implementation, upskilling and reskilling, enablement solutions, and browser-based lab solutions as well. See, we also offer managed services for infrastructure and human capital to meet the unique requirements of the organizations of all sizes and scale. We are excited to share that in the past 9 years, our world-class delivery model has allowed us to have a global footprint and enabling us to transform the careers over 200,000 participants, professionals across the globe. Thanks to this growing community of learners and our expertise now spans over the cutting edge technologies where we continue to push the boundaries and innovations. Our training portfolio covers over 50+ advanced certification courses, tailor-made courses, and learning paths for highly unique needs, and is supported by a network of over 500+ industry practitioners. All these consultants, instructors, solution implementers are highly qualified, experienced, and vetted by the giants like Confluent, Snowflake, Cloudera, Google, AWS, and many more. Our service portfolio spans advanced Web3 technologies and domains like agentic AI, generative AI, enterprise AI ML deployments, cloud, big data, data engineering, analytics, DevOps, agile, and many more. Highlighting our significant achievements, we have successfully partnered with Fortune 500 companies and global system integrators such as Infosys, Accenture, TCS, as well as tech giants like Apple, Salesforce, Google, Barclays, and many more, Microsoft, and many more. We have also worked with many multinational companies and corporations like PayPal, PepsiCo, Bank of America, Visa, and Blue Cross Shield are among others where we have left our footprints. Talking about today, Data Couch is proud host of 5 vibrant meetup communities, namely All Things Data, Generative AI User Group Pune, Snowflake AI and Data Cloud User Group, AI Minds, Gulf Mind, AI ML and Data Talks. Collaboratively, we have delivered 300 plus meetup sessions while covering 100 plus technological topics and having a reach of a global community of 37,000 plus members globally. Just to share with everyone, as we are the very first training delivery partners for the Starburst, Current, and One House. We also collaborated with our partners with Neo4j Enterprise Graph platform, which enables organizations to model and query connected data at scale with an asset compliance native graph database and cipher language. Data Couch helps teams worldwide to master Neo4j through official training programs with hands-on labs and projects. This is to accelerate graph analytics adoption and real-world application development. Along with that, we are also the proud associates with world's fast growing AI data cloud service provider, Snowflake, as their authorized training resellers for their official courses like the widely popular Snowflake Fundamentals for SARC region. You can reach out to us for these official training programs delivered by Snowflake instructors. Very good point that I would like to mention. We have a special price parity. So you can contact us and leverage the special prices just from us. Then we are the Starburst Enterprise partners as well, where Starburst is deliver secure federal SQL across 50 plus data sources with elastic scaling and high performance analytics. Data Couch provides custom consulting and hands-on training on official Starburst courses and Apache Trino to maximize adoption. Lastly, we are honored to announce that Confluent has recognized us as the only global education partner for the years 2022, 23, and 24. This recognition, received for the third consecutive year, underscores our leadership in providing cutting-edge training and consultancy services across the globe. So with this, I would like to hand over this session to Shadab. Over to you, Shadab.
Hey, thanks, Harshit, for the introduction. Let me share my screen. I have turned on my camera.
Yep.
Yep. So I hope my screen is visible right now, right?
Yes, your screen is visible. Google browser is there.
Perfect. Let me share the screen. Slides are visible now?
Yes, building agents using Bedrock is visible.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks for confirmation. So thanks, Harshit, for the introduction and for inviting me for the talk. And hi, everyone. Good evening, those who are joining from India. I'm Shadab, and like today, I'm going to deliver a session on building AI agents using Bedrock. So a bit about me, like Harshit has already gave my introduction, but like I mean, by passion, like by work profile, you can see I'm an engineer, but I pursue research also in certain domains like quantum machine learning and post-quantum cryptographic side. And apart from that, like GenAI has always been sort of like into day-to-day work. And so I will not waste much of time there. So let's get started with the topic. So
Shadab,
yes.
your voice is a bit low. Is it possible to increase the voice?
Perfect. So let's get started with the topic. So yeah, we have been seeing a lot of buzz, and not, I mean, this moment is not of the buzz anymore. We are seeing a lot of applications being created using GenAI, and this whole got started back in 2022 or 2021 when ChatGPT was announced, and since then we have seen a lot of advancements and development, and the whole standards being set for generative AI applications, right? How we can build the applications, how the tech stack needs to be defined, what all tools we have, and even we have seen a shift of focus also from the major cloud providers, and even small companies have emerged building different uh, like GenAI enabled tools, which is sort of like helping us like in being more efficient and being more productive in our day-to-day work as well, and in our development life cycle as well, if you look at it from the developer's standpoint, and also the way how the application were getting created in past, and now how do we code, how do we sort of like generate applications, how sort of like the concept of the software as a service has been like getting transformed or is getting shifted slowly towards agentic AI workflows, right? There's a huge changes happening in the industry. People are like just jumping in, building different use cases. So that's why I thought like why not to pick up this topic. So that was the whole like purpose of it, to start with like what all services and tools we have on AWS platform, how we can sort of like build applications, and like after the session you should leave with certain good level of understanding of the services and how you can create your own agents. So on AWS, like if you have to like create applications, this is the generative AI stack. Like at the applications that leverage foundation models are like Amazon Q, Amazon Q in QuickSight, Amazon Q in Amazon Connect, and tools like which we can use for building with foundation models or large language models. Like the service which is on AWS is Amazon Bedrock, and in this we have certain like subsections, guardrails, how we can sort of like uh, implement security for the GenAI application. So guardrails, so far we have seen like traditional in respect to traditional security or cybersecurity aspects, where how we can configure certain security measures or can take certain precautions or preventive measures so that our system is not uh, prone to any sort of attack or any sort of leakage of the data at all. But in the context of GenAI applications, or when you're working with like LLMs or any other multi-models, in that case also we have to implement guardrails, or people can play around, people can mess up with the applications, can give some random prompts, and the output will be also junk, and it can create like big issue in the industry for your application. Agents, like how we can create multiple agents, and like you can create single agent also, you can create multi-agent workflow as well. Then how we can customize those capabilities and all will be like doing the hands-on with the Amazon Bedrock. And the infrastructure which we need for fine-tuning the models or for inferencing purpose and all, like the different services available on AWS. Like we have GPUs, we have like Trainium, Inferentia, SageMaker, like if you want to play around on the node like environment. We have ultra clusters, we have EC2 like capacity blocks, we have Nitro, Neuron, like a number of services you will find. And like people, these companies are developing more and more services and a lot more advancements, and they have like the full product roadmap is there, which they are following, and we will be seeing sort of like upcoming releases in the upcoming like time period as well. So for AWS, the major announcements happen during the AWS reInvent. So those of you who don't know, like that's the key event of for AWS Cloud, and most of the announcements we get to hear like about the latest like whatever advancements have been done throughout the year, where the where AWS Cloud is heading, different use cases, hearing from their partners and all. That's all like you can like watch out previous year talks to see what all has been done. So how you can build a like intelligent application with generative AI, right? So here on the screen we can see two. Like for building any application, we need like for booking anything as well, like we can consider building the software application as a cooking. And for cooking, we need like whatever you are trying to cook, we need recipes for that, and we need tools for that. Right? The same way, like uh, for building software applications, also like if you want to build very nice and good application, making sure that like all the like best practices, design patterns have been taken care of. We need to know like what are the best practices we can sort of like use, what are the tools which we can make use of, what are the sort of like key ingredients which can go in my like software which I'm trying to build, right? So and another example, if you just think of like if you're trying to make chicken curry or kadhai paneer, something like that. Sorry, I'm like taking this cooking analogies here. And if you miss out the key ingredients from the sort of like from these dishes, for example, if you're trying to make uh, chicken curry and you don't have like proper chicken masala for that, and you are just using uh, chili, salt, and all, and some key ingredients have been missing which can add good flavor to that, then obviously that chicken curry will not be nice, right? The same goes with the applications or software development as well. Whatever we are trying to build, if like great chefs have like many cookbooks and recipes to learn, the same way like we also rely on patterns, existing software libraries, and all, and we should know what to use, when to use, and like what packages or softwares can fit in. Okay, so with these analogies, like whenever we are building like GenAI applications, we run into several challenges. Like we have access to multiple foundation models, and the way that advancement is happening in the industry, we are seeing like a lot of newer versions are coming every now, like then and here you will be like seeing some or the other announcements happening in the industry that Google has released this version of the Gemini, Anthropic has released this version of the cloud model, OpenAI has released this version of like their uh, models, right? Similarly, we have open source models as well. By Meta, we have Llama, we have Mistral, we have Hugging Face, we have Cohere, we have models by AI 21 Labs, and so on. Like we can't even imagine like how many options we have. They all are trying to come up with uh, newer, advanced version of the models with billions of parameters trained different like whenever the new version of the model is also coming, based on the usage they have like very large model, and so on, like based on the number of parameters or weightage they have with the model, right? So it often gets like confused, or not even confusion, we often get sort of like how to rely on which model we should be using, how we can access like these models which are getting released and all is the key challenge, right? Because if all the models are not hosted at a single place, and if you have to host these models, or if you have to like make multiple changes in the code line, it becomes like very painful to make those changes. Also, like often you'd have come across the use cases like how to fine tune these models, and if we have to fine tune, do we really need to go with such large models, or can we just like make use of like small LLMs or small models and fine tune on my data, like very like contextualize for my use case and use it. So there are like different combinations, permutation combinations, which we go through based on what use case is, what kind of data is, what application we are building, who will be the user of that application, and so on, right? And also like how we can maintain the like if you have some data which can't be like opened publicly or people should not be having access to, how we can make sure that data is private and secure, how do we even connect to data sources and make sure that we have all the data sources or points connected with my application, and with the proper flow in of data in real time, how do we manage the infrastructure and scale the application, right? So these are like a lot of challenges also while working on the GenAI application. It trust me, like a lot of people they build the POCs, and now like we the POCs are at much better stage. But when it got started in the industry, people were struggling a bit. Like even if the POC has been done, how do we scale that? How do we make sure that the data governance process is in place properly, right? How do we sort of like configure access to different data sources at different levels and all? So people figured out that on the go, and we kept developing. So to overcome all these challenges and to have sort of like a unified platform on AWS, Amazon Bedrock was launched. So this is sort of like easiest way to build and scale GenAI applications, and it was released like I think in 2023 or 2024. And with Bedrock, you can easily experiment with a variety of like top foundation models, customize them privately with your data, and you can use techniques for fine tuning, or you can like implement tracks as well. You can create and manage like agents that can execute complex business tasks. Like for example, if you take the example of travel agent, how you can book the travel, and or if you go for the insurance processing, how you can process the insurance claims using the agents. Even in the marketing field, also we are seeing a lot of use cases emerging, and uh, the power with which these models are getting released, like how well they can create the creatives, be it the video, be it the images, be it the content, is like up to the next level. Like the job of like earlier is still like whenever I speak to a couple of like marketing folks, I hear from them like the when they used to write blog before this Gen AI era, it used to at least take 3 days to 5 days to do the proper research on the content, to come up with right stats and values and write the like blog from scratch, right? And then have multiple iteration on top of it, get it reviewed, and then publish it. The whole process was taking 3 to 5 days. And now, like with the assistance of these GenAI tools, I'm not talking specifically about Amazon Bedrock here, but tools like Gemini or ChatGPT and cloud or like platform, cloud.ai platforms and all, they are able to sort of like short this timeline of 3 to 5 days to just 1 to 2 hours, and that also like I mean, with the help of these tools, it doesn't take, it just takes seconds for them to get the content out, and the remaining 1 hour they just spend on sort of like fine tuning the content and validating the sort of like stats or content of that blog to make sure that uh, all the information given by or have been put in that content is accurate. So you can imagine like how much the shift is happening in all. I've just taken here the example of marketing, but there's a huge shift happening across the industry. So and why they need to spend that 1 hour also, like because these models can hallucinate. They have been trained on historical data, so maybe they may not have been able to put or fetch the up-to-date information and can mislead in the block, right? So that's why like those validation and accuracies uh, like needed. So coming to Amazon Bedrock again here, so we can fine tune the model, we can sort of like manage the infrastructure, we can sort of like securely integrate and deploy any applications using the AWS services we are already familiar with. And for especially for builders and developers, it's very important that we understand some of the concepts and patterns that are like involved in building with GenAI and Amazon Bedrock. So, as I said, like Amazon Bedrock hosts sort of like a lot of information, like all the foundation models, whatever is coming from different companies and industries, we will find here. So we have AI 21 labs, different version of the models. You will see certain models listed here a bit outdated, but you can, I mean, I take you for the hands-on and I show you the UI part of it, you will find like what all latest models have been released, and we need to request for the access of these models, then only we will be able to use it. So we have models from Cohere, Meta, Stability, models by Amazon as well, Anthropic, AI 21 Labs, and all. Another tool which I was talking about is like Amazon Q Developer. This is like most capable GenAI power assistant for software development. So many of you have already heard of like Copilot or Cursor. It's similar to like that tool itself, and but more on the AWS side. So let's get started with the main topic for today, like building with agents. Uh, so agents are the hello world for the AI engineer. Like, I mean, this is not my code. This was like a statement by one of the like engineers I came across. His name is Sean. So, like anyone that's been playing around with models and they maybe want to make agent to do things like to chat with their private documents or to take some type of action to complete a task, like booking an airline flight or have the agents deployed in insurance claim processing, or even agents for sort of like manufacturing industry or healthcare industries and all. Like these are agents are the building blocks nowadays for building like GenAI applications with agentic AI workflows. So what is an AI agent, right? So we can think of it as an application powered by like LLMs, and we have certain predefined system prompts and which are like custom instructions which tell it how to act. Okay, and because the agents also have a set of tools which are self-contained functions to perform a specific task. So we can think of uh, agents as a lambda function, or like if you have to deploy a lambda function, or if you have to generate AWS diagram, or book a flight, etc. Like these are the tasks we can think of, right? So we can create agents for these specific tasks, which can sort of like perform the task. And let's say if we have to get executed the whole like list of tasks which are sort of like interconnected or interdependent of one another in a certain flow, then we go ahead and implement the multi-agent workflows. Okay, so today, like I'm not going to walk you through the, you can say, single agent based system. Like I will direct you towards the link and what all artifacts we have on AWS to experiment around and get started with it. But mainly we'll be focusing on multi-agent system today. So this is one of the example. Like just try to understand the concept over here. You don't have to sort of like worry much about the code piece or the architecture and all. Like everything is available like open like publicly on GitHub and Amazon website. So I will share the link which you can go through later on. So imagine this use case, right? We are trying to like earlier, like whenever you have to do the investment research, we sort of like have to go through multiple sources to make sure that wherever we are going to invest, the decision is right. And that decision was based on our quantitative analysis, on the news sentiments, and SEC filings and all. So there are different like source of information which from where we sort of like collect the data points, and based on that we used to do that analysis. So for that use case itself, we have tried building a multi-agent investment research assistant, and you can look at this architecture. So this architecture, if you see like as a user, we can just ask like analyze Amazon's financial health based on let's say 2024 10K report, and then we will have an orchestrator agent like the supervisor agent, which will sort of like create a plan like how the execution of this particular task should happen, and it will decide on like which agent should be invoked. So, and what is the optimized way of execution as well. Then, and those all can be controlled and played around when you start developing the application. We'll have, so in this case, you can see like we have three main agents. We have like a smart summarizer, we have quantitative analysis expert, we have news expert. And these sort of like agents are connecting with different sources, like news expert can go for SEC filings as well to look at like how the like finance of a particular company look like, and to pull up real time trading data we can like pull up the data from the Yahoo Finance API. Yahoo by Finance API is like open source. You can also just go sign up and request for the architecture for it. Okay, so the job of quantitative analysis expert will be like fetching the real-time and historical stock prices and use mathematical like optimization to allocate assets. News expert will be sort of like responsible for fetching the financial insights from a knowledge base and fetching recent market news from the web. And smart summarizer is responsible for like whatever subagents are generating the information, how we can sort of like structure that piece of information in a certain format so that the insights are very concise, accurate, and presented to the end user in a structured format. Okay, so you can write the questions like in the chat, but like I can see a lot of people have been commenting around, so I will start taking up questions like before moving the hands on. So please feel free to write questions, whatever you have. Okay, so this is the basic overview of multi-agent system which we are going to implement. And this is the high-level architecture of it. Like there will be a user. The user will be asking the query. The query will go to the investment research assistant, that supervisor agent. That supervisor agent will like prepare a plan, and it will think of like which all agent needs to be called. So it will call news agent to get all the like stock data action group and financial knowledge base, the data from the knowledge base. And then it will call the quantitative analysis agent as well to get the stock prices tree and do the optimization on top of it. And then based on this overall like data points, it will create the overall recommendation or summary of like whatever the user is asking about. So coming about the news agent, right? So if we break down further the news agent, here you see you can see we have like two tools connected with the news agent. One is for pulling up the stock data from using the Yahoo Finance API, and one we have the financial data knowledge base. Like this knowledge base, you can consider as like company historical reports and other stuff, other financial documents, which can be like accessed publicly if it is a public analyst agent. If it's internal, then company can like decide on like what information they want to pass on or how they want to build the knowledge base here. So whenever this tool we want to invoke, we'll be invoking the Lambda function. Lambda function will have the code to call the sort of like in case of news agent, it will have the like function, or you can say a code to call the like web search API to pull the real time uh, like news about that particular company or about that particular stock, and pull all those information and provide that as a context and structure it in this agent. Similar thing goes for like knowledge base tool as well. It will have like context of what needs to be searched. It will look for that contextual information in the open source open search serverless index database here. So this is connected to your S3 bucket where we have created the knowledge base for this purpose, and it will fetch the results and give us this information. Coming to the quantitative analysis agent here, if you look at, uh, it will be sort of like calling the stock data action group, which will sort of like, this is the tool which we have created to pull the, like this tool will be invoking the Lambda function here, which is connected to the Yahoo Finance API for pulling up the data what we're looking for. So we have like, we're using two endpoints here, portfolio tool and stock data lookup, fetching the results and passing back to the agent, like whatever prompts we have designed, you will look at that in the code base, get all the like information, whatever we need based on the user query, like pass it back to the this supervisor agent, and this supervisor agent will further like pass it to the summarizer agent, and will sort of like this agent will summarize that information and give us the final structured output. So this is the like high level implementation. Coming back to like you'll find, I mean, there are others. So this is what we are going to look at the demo part. Okay, but there are other simple basic demos also, like I have put up in the slide, which I will be like, which will be getting shared with you. Like, and we have. I'm not going to take you through all this. Like these are very basics. I'm skipping all this, but I've put for those who are just getting started and also this is for your reference. You can just go through all these slides. You can like understand how the basic agents and all work. We have like QR code which will take you to sort of like GitHub repository of AWS to fetch, I mean, where you can get the code and try it out with the basic stuff. Okay. So these are like how you can make use of AppSync with Bedrock, enhances security and all that. Like so all these architecture and all you'll find here. So demo of this also you will find here like Bedrock recipes we have code links for Bedrock recipe as well. So try this out. Like I will be sharing the link as well so that you get well aware with it. Now I will take you to the hands-on part since we have covered the basic architecture of the multi-agent system, which is sort of like key topic for today, which we are going to cover. So let me open the sort of like my notebook here, like on the screen, if you look at. So this notebook also you will find like on GitHub. I will share the link with you in a while. So all the instructions and everything you will find in place over here, like how what is the prerequisite, how you can do the setup. So before that, actually, let me take you to console of Bedrock first. So whenever you come on AWS console, your console will look something like this, based on like whatever recently visited the services are. You can look around. Make sure that you implement alerts for the cost and all whatever like whatever services you're using. So on SageMaker also, like if you want to spin up, if you if you don't have local environment setup, if you are completely on cloud, or if you're working in a company, they might can provide you the cloud access. Then you can just play around on the Google Cloud. I mean, sorry, I'm saying Google Cloud on AWS Cloud itself. You can have the notebook instances which you can play with. So in this case, like I've already created notebook instance specifically for this session purpose. So, like you can access the Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lab environment, either of this. Like I will suggest to go for Jupyter Lab. This is like more interactive with more functionalities. So you will find this console, which is similar to the Jupyter Notebook environment, your local Jupyter Lab environment, and you can play around this. Okay. So coming back to the Bedrock piece, so you can just search here like for Bedrock and you can see Amazon Bedrock. If you will click on this, it will take you to this dashboard over here. So this is the overview page. You will see like if you have worked on any other cloud platform as well, like be it Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure and all, they all are providing playground UI based playground as well. So that if you want to experiment around with the prompts, if you want to experiment around with the output of different models before deciding on like which like model you should be going ahead with, you can sort of like just experiment a bit in starting to see the results and uh, like compare the model output as well. For example, here if you look at, I mean this is a bit basic again I'm talking about, but for those who are like coming to this for the first time, maybe like this will be useful for you. So you can select, let's say here I'm like selecting the DeepSeek model. And these are the parameters like which defines randomness and diversity. So temperature, like if it is one, it will be sort of like more rigid for the information. If it is zero, it will be like more diverse. Top P is like how many top tokens, like when the search is happening, we want to retrieve. What is the maximum length of output we want to have? If any stop sequence you want to provide, like if these words or this sequence gets encountered in the output getting generated by the model, then you should stop the like, content generation. The stop sequences we can give. We can implement the like guardrails, and also in guardrails you can have different policies and also I will talk about the guardrails also like how you can create it. So this is the like basic chat playground which we are at. So let's say to this chat itself, I will ask, explain me in brief about AWS Bedrock, right? So let's send the chat. It will do the analysis. It will sort of like if it is having the sort of like access to that data, if historically the deep sea carbon model has been trained on this, then it will be able to fetch the information, right? So you can see the reasoning which is happening in the background, right? So with these kind of playground tools, you can sort of like not just look at the final output, but beneath also like how the model is thinking, you can sort of like look at like what exactly is happening at the background. So you can see it started with I need to understand what AWS Bedrock is. It started collecting, recalling what it know about AWS services, then talking about the AI services and all, like based on the data it has been trained on. Then again, it checked for the Bedrock and it got confused. It might be play that might be a play on foundation models like the base models in AI and all blah blah. If that's the case, this the user mentioned in brief, like it's processing my query as well, verifying like if Bedrock is indeed about foundation models, and so it is it is having some like historical data on which it has been trained from like AWS announcements about Bedrock. It is just like trying to retrieve those information based on the data it has this DeepSeek model has been trained on, and then on the basis of that, it has prepared the whole summary of this. You can see it is a fully managed service designed to simplify the development and deployment of GenAI application. That's accurate of by providing access to high performance foundation models from leading AI companies and blah blah. Like you can see the output of it, why to use, the use cases of it, a very gist like information it has already given us, right? Now, if you want to compare the like output of this model with the output of another models, and before I clear so that I don't have to type it again, I will copy the query. Let's turn on compare model. On the left, we have DeepSeek. On the right, we can have, let's say, Meta's 8 billion Llama 3 model. Okay. And in system prompt, if you want to ask, let's say, I will you are an AWS expert. So each of these models you will see have different ways of sort of like if it's configured as well, right? So like some of them will allow the system prompts. This DeepSeek was not having the system prompt and all. So you are an AWS expert. Answer the user query related to AWS. Anything not related to AWS, reply as it's not. I'm not mean to answer that. Need to answer that. Okay, so this is the system prompt I've given, temperature and all. You can play around these parameters similar to DeepSeek, what I just showed. I've just shown. So yeah, response length and all guardrails. If you want to implement it, you can go ahead with. So let's say I'm going to ask the same query. Explain me in a brief about AWS Bedrock. This is the you can see you can like look at the comparison of in terms of like how fast the output is also getting generated, right? So DeepSeek was a bit sort of like delayed, but this was able to give us the output very fast. And if you ask something like out of the context, it will sort of like act as the system prompt, like whatever we have given. So this is more about like chat playground. Similarly, you can play with the video or image creation playground as well. You can have a look on model catalog, like what all models we have. You can look at certain marketplace deployment as well if you have done. And to check whether you have the access to all the models or not, you need to sort of like come here. Like I have requested for all the model access. You can see access granted is here, but if you don't have, you need to sort of like click on modify model access and you have to like request for all the models from here, and then you will be able to use that model. Without that, you won't be able to use it. Okay. And then this is the guardrails. I have put one guardrail like no Bitcoin guardrail and all, but like you can create your own guardrail. You can specify the keywords and applications. There's a whole process of that, like how it can be created through the UI. So, I can see Shiv put the questions like we're still going through the basics. Yes, we are still going through the basics, but these basics are required, Shiv, like for the people who are not like even aware of the agent concept or the bedrock, so that when we come across guardrails, agents, and all, they have certain base knowledge to understand that. So coming to the agents part, so you can see a like couple of agents we have already created. Like I was just doing the try run of the notebook before starting the session. So it is already created. When we will run the code again, it will run again. But here you can create the like your own agent. You can describe the name. You can enable the multi-agent collaboration from the UI and can configure it from the UI as well. Or if you want to play around from your like from the code base, we have Boto3 SDK which will be utilizing. Okay. Then the flows and all, whatever sort of like we want to create for this prompts, agents, knowledge base and all, we can sort of like create the flow from here. And knowledge base, if any, you want to configure, like right now we have just related to this use case, but you can create your own knowledge base as well. Whatever prompts you want to create and keep, you can do the prompt management also, which can be accessed later on in the code. So this is a bit basic about the Bedrock platform. Let's jump to the like core component of the like notebook. So in your notebook, you will sort of like find a requirement.txt file, and I will share the code, don't worry about it. And we need to install some of the libraries. So once these libraries are installed, there are like three helper files which we have kept in place. We have Bedrock agent helper, we have knowledge base helper, we have uh, the methods that we are going to invoke in this notebook, like on agents.py, is like to create the agent and invoke, or like to execute the agent, like create agent and invoke. And for knowledge base, we have like create or retrieve knowledge base and synchronize with the data. So this part is like just importing the basic libraries here, like we're importing the Boto3 and Boto4 SDK, which will help us in connecting with AWS services and creating the agents. Okay. And also before that, like if you are doing the developments from your local laptop, make sure that you have authentication mechanism in place. Like either you can enable the authentication like for your root account if you're working with your personal account with like AWS CLI, or you can have the service key ID and access key configured for the service account if you've created in. I will suggest go for the service account usage. Don't use root account as such. Okay, so we can just Google around how to configure and do the local setup for AWS, and you will find that. So coming back to this part, we imported the required packages, and here you can see sort of like we are importing all the required modules. So that we have a Bedrock agent.py file, which is sort of like the utils where we have defined the code base for creating agents, supervisor agents, creating tasks, start rails, and all. So let me give you a glimpse of this as well. You will find this mostly here. So these are the files here you can see. So Bedrock agent, this is what we are sort of like importing there in the notebook. You can see what all functions we have defined and what are the code base. So these are the like foundation models which we're using. You can change this, you can tweak this according to like whatever models you want to use. And like region and all these are the project level configuration to like create different sources from the code base. We have defaulted the agent model. If you want to play around with some other models, you can do that. We have parameter types. We have parameter schema for handling the data structure of this. Then we have guardrails. Like this is the class for guardrails, and through the code base, we are creating the guardrails. So like what topics can be denied and all we have specified here, like when this class object will be created. And then we have tools. What all tools we need to create. So what are the tasks needs to be performed? Then this class is responsible for creating the agents and invoking the agents. We'll find two functions over here. In this one, attaching knowledge base, then like needs preparation, like all these sort of like helper functions, whatever we can need during our multi-agent system have been defined in this file. Updating, invoking, all those things you'll find in this over here. Okay. So like given the time constant, I will not walk you through each of the code base over here, but these are like self-explain and very like, self-understandable. You can just go through this code base and try to understand like what all functions have been created, what is the purpose of like different functions, and how they are getting invoked, and all. We are going to focus on the main functionality of the multi-agent system. So we imported these these functions or helping modules from Bedrock agent file. And from knowledge base helper file, where we are importing like knowledge base from Amazon Bedrock, we created the client here. Then we needed data files, which we are sort of like downloading from like Amazon itself. Like it is already hosted at a location. You can see like these are the files. This is the location where the files have been hosted. We are just downloading it. So in my local directory here, you will sort of like multi-agent collaboration. So this is having a lot of agents. We are just focusing on one. Yeah, this files. You can see whatever files we have downloaded have been like downloaded over here. And after that, we are going to create like we need to create a Bedrock agent project. Okay. So this is the code base for that, where we are sort of like making sure that we are meeting the standard and we have custom output configuration as per the need. So this is the project name we have given and runtime client we have created. And we are creating the bucket also from here, like specific for just like this knowledge base, what we need, and handling the like error part. Then like this is the bucket name for input and output for the agents, whatever we're creating. So we need to log all the information what is happening, right? So this is the bucket getting created for that. So knowledge base bucket is different. The bucket for storing input or output for these agents will be different. The bucket resource has been created. Next, we are sort of like defining the project name and we are checking if the project exists or not. If it exists, it will not create. If it doesn't exist, then it will sort of like go ahead and create a project. So once the project has been created, we need to configure that with certain permissions and like what all data automation and all we want to like put in place. So data automation, when I talk about, you have these services over here. Let me see, where did it go? There was somewhere here. Yeah, data automation tab. Here you can see it. If you want to configure the data like for your use case and all, you can sort of like think of like how the data automation you want to be in place. Because for these kind of GenAI applications, we need data like to be updated and to be connected to provide the context at the runtime to these applications. So this is the service which can be leveraged for this. So here we are sort of like setting up the data part, like what all kind of data and all we need. And then like this, you can ignore this is just a yarn of the project which has been created. Then whatever files we had, right? So whenever we invoke the Bedrock like VDA, this thing, right? Bedrock data automation, and then like how it needs to be processed and all. This is the code piece for that. So where the file, what is the input configuration, what is the output configuration, what processing and all is going to happen have been defined over here. So I'm not running it live, given like execution takes a bit of time. So like it just ran like an hour, 2 hours before like the last. You can see the like output configuration file has been stored at this location. So we have job metadata like, created, and this was the result which we have downloaded locally also. So if I take you back to this here, you can see this folder actually multiple agents file, multiple JSON file have been downloaded. So these JSON files are getting generated from the this piece of code base, which we will be referring from our like the local code base. We will be just referring to this JSONs for our contextual information, whatever we need. If you want to look at like how this JSON looks like, So this is the metadata of the information. This is the document description, stats, pages. Each of the pages, like how if you want to look at the information, you can go through it. So this is how the JSON has been structured for the like files like which we need. So I'm sorry, like I'm running a bit over time. It will not take much time, but just to give you the understanding of like why we are doing this step. Because if you will just try to retrieve sort of like information directly from the files, it can sort of like take a lot of time to avoid those latencies issues and all in real time with the application. We process the files and save it. Then this function we have kept will be calling so that like we can clean up the agents and can create the guardrail. And this is the function responsible for creating the guardrails. As I said, this is like very important whenever you're creating an AI application to make sure that what topic to be avoided, what keywords to be avoided, and so on. So in this guardrail, you're seeing we are avoiding all the Bitcoin related topics and the keywords also we have specified. And if someone asks or if any of these keywords we encounter in this multi-agent system, the output will be sorry, this agent cannot discuss Bitcoin. Okay, so I mean, I know many of you have been waiting like how to create the agents from last 1 hour. So this is the like this is the step. So very first we are sort of like cleaning up the agents if any exist. We are sort of like forcing recreate default to true, and we created the guardrail. And next we are going to create the sub agents. So this is the code base for creating the summarizer agent, which I showed you in the architecture before, right? So agent.create, we are defining the what the name is going to be, what the role is going to be, what the goal of this agent is going to be, and the instructions for this agent. You can see name, role, a financial analyst specializing in synthesizing stock market trends and blah blah. Goal is like analyze stock trends and market news to generate insights. Instruction is like and try to be very clear, concise, and break down the task in the instruction so that agent is not taking everything in one go. It can confuse the agent if we ask like everything to be processed just at once. Okay. So be specific with the instructions how you're passing it. So once you execute the cell, like if any existing agent will be there, it will delete that. And if it's not there, then it will display the log messages like this agent not found. And then it will start with creation of the smart summarizer agent process. And our agent has been created with this ID. So this is what you are seeing over here on the UI when I'm taking you to this agent tab. So this is the agent which got created. You can see the status of it. So if it's getting created and all, the status will be different. If you will delete it, then it will be gone. What is the permissions and all? Like you can look at the permissions here. If any of the missing permissions and all, you can always look at the CRN and can count the missing permissions. If the scope of the agent gets changed once you start iterating on your like application, whatever you have built. So description and all you can see over here. You can manage the tags. This is the version 1 if you want to deploy it. So versioning of the agent is also possible. This we have not seen like sorry, my window was a bit small. I didn't realize that. So you can do the versioning of the agent as well. Let's say if you have created a new version of the agent with improved tools, connectivity, context, prompt, and all, you can create a new version of that as well. So this is one of the agents. If you want to sort of like test it, you can like have a UI as well to test it from the here. So provide me insights about Tesla stock. I hope it works, but it might can fail also. Like real-time demo, most of the time like goes out of the control. So let's see if this is working. Yep. So this is the tracing and all. Okay, as I said, registration and knowledge base, post processing tracing. Okay. Let me see what is happening in between. Okay, so whatever prompt you'll find, sort of like it will go through the tracing. Something is messed up, I think, from the last. It's not showing me the output. But anyway, let me first finish this, and then after that we'll come back to debug this. So once the agent has been created, we can sort of like query whatever we want. So a smart summarizer agent will sort of like need certain contextual information as well. Maybe because of that missing information, we are not able to test it out right now. So based on that input given to it, it will be sort of like able to summarize those information. So this is like that agent. Next, we are creating quantitative analysis sub-agent. Here we have defined the name, role, goal again. Then the instruction, if you see, it is very explicit. We are sort of like uh, defining what are the capabilities of this agent is, retrieving stock price, performing portfolio optimization, enforcing the portfolio optimization rule as well. We have given explicit instruction over here so that the agent, like whatever rules we want to incorporate, right? So that the agent doesn't get misled or doesn't go something of its own choice, which we don't want, and how the core behavior is going to be. And here you can see we have defined a tool for this agent. So one tool here you can see is like for getting the stock data, what the tool name is, description, parameters, and all. So whatever stock name, it will be passing from the user query. For that stock, it will be fetching the 1 month stock price history. And this is the portfolio optimization tool. So it will like optimize the stock portfolio given a list of tickers. So if you're defining like multiple stocks in your query, it will sort of like do the portfolio optimization as well. Next is like knowledge base. So knowledge base here, if you look at, we have the instruction for that. We have web search lambda function, which will be like connecting with this agent as a tool. And this is the like with the news agent as a tool. Knowledge base is already there based on the like PDF files and reports and all. And we have given the instruction, and then we are defining the capability of the news agent as well. And you can see we have defined the tool also, like what we just defined above. And this tool will be invoked whenever we are going through the process of like executing the planning done by the supervisor agent. So you can see the output of that of this, like what are the steps it has gone through. We need encryption techniques. The knowledge base has been created. The tools have been like configured properly, and this is the like creating vector index to store the like knowledge base properly. Then the final knowledge base has been created here, and the same is done for the news agent as well. We went through the process. We defined the data source ID and different other like while spinning up the resources. The with news agent, the web search tool has been integrated. Next, we are creating a supervisor agent, and what are the so the supervisor agent, you can see like what are the capabilities we have for the supervisor agent. We have defined that. What are the available sub agents? We have defined that as well. Core behavior. Then what are the collaborator agents? So if you connect the dots over here, right? Initially we created single agents. Then we created this final supervisor agent, which is playing as a key role to call out the collaborator agents, right? Now, based on whenever, and it's not like whenever you define a multi-agent workflow system, all the agents should be used. You can have n number of agents in your agentic AI workflow, and based on like what query the user is asking, it will sort of like prepare execution plan if you have designed the prompts and the supervisor agent in such a way, and dynamically it will decide like which agents to be invoked, when, what tools to be called, and so on. So you can build multi-agent, multi-tool system as well. I mean, that's where you can go ahead, and that's how the system should be designed. I'm not saying that's the like only design pattern for creating the agentic AI workflows, but that is like most generic way of doing it. But if you have very specific use cases or you have very specific tools which can be utilized by specific agents, then you can create agent specific tools as well. So there comes the way of development, like agent agnostic or agent specific tools you should create and all, right? So this is our supervisor agent. We sort of like defined the collaborator agent. We have given the instructions, the parameter. You can see what all it needs. Sorry. From here, uh, guardrail has been commented, or you can enable it like when you want to learn it, when you want to like sort of implement it. And after that, we can start with like querying the supervisor agent, whatever we have created. So let me sort of like start with running it. So it will start processing the request, and you can see the query was Amazon stock price during the last week and relate that to recent news. So it will call both the main agents first, like the news agent and the knowledge base agent for getting the contextualized information, so whatever is needed for the stock. And it will hit the Yahoo Finance API also to fetch the real-time stock data. So coming to this part, let's say I want to get the news, try out the news agent. Hopefully this works from the UI. What's the recent sentiments about Tesla? Let me see. Okay, it's getting executed. So if those are simple agents, okay, I think I hit the quota because of which it's not showing me the results. Okay, anyway, you can ignore the errors. This always happens when we as a developer, we try to do some live demo, but this is how it should be done. I mean, the quota needs to be increased for the number of invocation calls, whatever like I'm making to the model and the agents, because of which this error is coming. But you can think of like how easily you can sort of like play around with different systems, and you can build a multi-agent system. It can have application in healthcare, it can have application in tourism for insurance claiming. Even in our content creation also, like you can have an agent for writing the content, you can have an agent for scrapping the all the news articles or blogs related to certain events. You can have an agent for creating graphics or videos and so on. So that's how you can play around and you can design your own multi-agent workflows. There are a lot of other things also which can be covered, but given the time constraint, I will not go in that direction. So for your like context or to recap in between, we have investment research assistant, which is a supervisor agent, and it has three collaborative agents: a smart summarizer agent, quantitative analysis agent, and news agent, which are getting invoked by this based on the user query. User query can be like related to any of the company's information. The query we pass will identify the company name or ticker name and stock name, and based on that, the whole agent will be performing and retrieving the information. Okay, so that's a bit of brief about like multi-agent system, how it can be built. Coming to the resource sharing part, so let me find like what all resources I have. So I'm bringing my slides here for your reference. So this was the architecture, and on this link itself, let me share GitHub repository with you. Like this all code base, whatever I have shown to you is open source. The similar way, like whatever I've done locally, you can sort of like clone the repository on SageMaker as well and can play around. All the examples and everything you will find over this place. And this is the repository where you can go and find out like you can play around with different other notebooks as well. Okay. So coming back to the questions now, I know I have not taken any questions during the session. I'm going to start now. We have a couple of things here. When does agents work in Amazon Bedrock? So it depends upon like how do you call it, how do you configure it, and it needs to be invoked. Even though if you've created it, if you're not invoking it, it will not work by its own. Would like to understand more on fine-tuning LLM models. Shreya, that is specifically different topic itself, but like you can just go to sort of like foundational models. You can select the models and can fine-tune it with your own data. Like custom models you can go for. Okay, I'm somehow signed out. I don't know very. Okay, so you can just go to custom model tab and you can create a fine tuning job or create content pre-training job. Like you can select from here And you can like sort of fine tune your model and can see the fine tune model at this tab. Next question is, are you planning to go into deep concepts rather than explaining use cases? Sure, this was not very deep. I will say this was just for someone who want to get started with multi-agent. Like given the time constraint we had, like it was a bit basic of AI agents and multi-agents. But maybe like next session, if I do, that will be the follow-up of this session with more in depth, like sort of like having proper in like hands-on thing. We have hands-on lined up for all. Perfect. Please write down any questions. I'm a beginner. So Nikhil, if you're a beginner, you can just search out on internet. There are a lot of resources. AWS itself has a lot of good like resources, or you can get in touch with Harshit or someone from the data cost team, and they can guide you like as a beginner if you have certain learning pathway, how you can get started with it. Shiv, I'm good with single AI agent and AI agent. I do have more questions on master agent, how it will understand where to navigate it. So, Shiv, we provide context to sort of like master agent, and the prompt is designed in such a way that, and the collaborative agent configuration, which I've just shown you in this space while creating the supervisor agent. All these prompts and the definition of the tools and collaborative agents decide on like how the agent needs to be invoked and what sequence. And there can be like more advanced version of it as well, based on like how in what order the agents and all needs to be invoked. So those all can be controlled at the planning stage. Okay, can we get recording link? I think data costing will share that, or they've already shared. How can I learn AI? Nikhil, the same thing. Reach out to the data cost team, or internet has plenty of resources. Here again, being disappointed. Please write down any questions or doubts. Can you Yep. So coming back to more in depth of this multi-agent shift for you. So you can see we have defined a specific prompt here. Like this is also like a agent, but this is a supervisor agent class which we have called, right? Collaboration. So this will be the orchestrator agent, and collaborator agent are the sub-agents of the like orchestrator agent or supervisor agent. And what are the available agents? We have provided that also in the context here. What are the core behavior of the supervisor agent is going to be? We have defined that as well, and collaborator agent with instructions have been given and what all things can be passed at the runtime. Like we have parameterized that, and based on that, your agent will act as a multi-agent system. So this is a very simple implementation. We can make it more complex, more predefined with more rules and more like workflows defined like that. And a supervisor agent can call some other supervisor agent or nested agents as well. There's a whole different type of workflows which can be implemented. What else? I'm considering each AI agent as separate service. Yes, each agent are separate service. Multi-agent also as a one service. Exactly. In this case, how multi-agent knows about agents do we need classified it? You don't need a specific classifier at infra level. So that's where the tools like Bedrock or on Google Cloud, Vertex AI Agent Builder and all come in place, where we create the agents in such a way that they have protocols internally defined how the master agent is going to invoke sub agents, or how the communication is going to happen between agent to agent. If you're not aware of, like we have, I mean, by Google Cloud, this protocol was announced A2A, which is mean for agent to agent communication. So this is like a simple master agent calling the sub agents. But if the sub agents also needs to communicate with one another, then how that can be enabled. So that is something if you experiment around or play with A2A protocol, it will guide you in that direction then. So this is really cool how you can sort of like do that. You'll find certain working examples also over here. So I think almost I've answered most of the questions. So, and there's a difference between MCP A2A and there's AGUI, like agentic UI also being released. A lot of things are happening actually. I don't know like what all I can share in this given limited of time. Try to like follow some of the influencers on LinkedIn, or see what all news you can capture, or what all tools you can be updated with.
So MCP is like Model Context Protocol, which helps you in connecting with any specific tools or APIs. A2A is like the communication between agent to agent, and agentic UI is sort of like how agent user interaction can happen through the UI part, so that people who are playing around with agentic AI don't have to create UI separately again and again. So they have tried standardizing that by this AGUI thing. Okay, so that's it from my side. I think if anyone wants to connect with me, this is my social media handle, Tech with Shada. It's the same username across most of the social media platforms wherever I am and using actively. So feel free to reach out. This is the QR code for my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect, drop in the message if you are working on something cool using the agentic AI, or if you're looking for some resources, you can reach out to Data Couch or even to me as well. That's it from my side. Thanks a lot for uh, attending the session and for being on the call for such long.
Great. That was truly an amazing, insightful, and interactive session. I'm sure all of you, just like me, are walking away with the valuable takeaways and a deeper understanding on how to build AI agents using Amazon Bedrock. A huge thanks to Shadab for sharing his expertise and making this session so engaging and impactful. As mentioned, we just shared the feedback form link in the Zoom chat. Please take a moment to fill it out. Your feedback means a lot and help us bringing you content that matters. Um, at Data Couch, we regularly host free power packed sessions like this one, designed to bring you industry best practices and real world insights straight from experts. Don't miss our upcoming session on agentic AI in HR, an exciting look at how AI agents are transforming HR for a support function to a strategic powerhouse. So, for registering or to add these meetup sessions to your calendar, simply visit to any of our meetup groups, and links for that are in Zoom chat. Thank you once again for being an active part of our growing community. Have a great rest of your day and even better weekend ahead. Thank you so much, everyone.